everybody, welcome to another edition of Go Live, Monterey County Herald's weekly look at what's going on here on the peninsula. I am your host, Marcos Cabrera. My co-host, Mac McDonald, is out on vacation this week, but filling in for him this week will be the lovely Jeannie Evers, who is our assistant city editor and also one of our popular columnists here. She writes the Rabbit Ears column.
I do, about television. I think popular goes a little too far, but you know, it's early yet.
Hey, come on, I read it. It's popular to me.
That's true.
So
that's all that matters.
That's right.
I got my audience of one.
So we're lucky to have you here this week, and we're going to be going over some of the stuff that's that you have covered in your column. Game of Thrones will be one. Also, kind of what's trending in the world of television, and what you're. I'm interested in hearing what you're checking out, what you're watching these days. So.
Oh, it's very exciting stuff.
And also this week's episode, we're also going to be talking about this week's edition of Go Magazine, and we'll get right into the cover story, which is on Youth Arts Collective's Live Art. Now, this event is happening Saturday from 5 to 10 p.m. out at the Youth Arts Collective in downtown Monterey, and this is basically they're going to have 5 hours of nonstop live art. You're going to have members of the Youth Arts Collective, which is an after-school arts program stationed out in downtown Monterey. They're going to be collaborating with several professional artists, folks like Steve White, Kevin Miller, and they're going to be. It's a pretty interesting deal. They sit around at these long tables and they produce live art, kind of right there on the spot. And I spoke with Meg Biddle and Marcia Perry earlier this week, and they were explaining to me that the drill is that they sit at these tables and they're producing art, and they hang it up on these clotheslines, kind of like you're out in the middle, in the backyard and stuff, trying to put up clothes to dry. Yeah, and so these works of art are going to be available for purchase right there, and they're selling them at less than $50 a pop. So you're going to get some pretty good art from some really good local artists at a pretty cut rate price, and it's all for going towards the Youth Arts Collective, which was founded in 2000 by Meg and Marcia over at YAC, and their whole aim is to offer young people just opportunities to produce art in a nice work environment. And I don't know, just how does this whole thing strike you? What do you think of this whole concept of live art?
I think it's pretty exciting, and actually I am a little ashamed that I didn't know about the Youth Arts Collective before this week, because it seems like a pretty cool organization. Really empowering, really a good outlet for young artists to kind of hone their craft and figure out, where they're going, what they want to do. And so when you're talking about live art, you're talking about what, like drawings and paintings?
Some of the stuff that they got going on will be, I guess they call them like 5 or 15-minute sketches. Basically, they're going to be sitting you down in a chair, and you're going to be kind of a model, and it'll be a group of artists doing a sketch of you, and they do it in roughly 5 to 15 minutes. So it's not like, I guess it's kind of like going out to the wharf and getting a little caricature, but this is going to be a little more refined. From my understanding of it. And this is going on, again, 5 to 10 p.m. Saturday, and that'll be $5. If you want some information, you could check out facebook.com/Youth Arts Collective, and it's definitely something worth checking out. So.
All right, cool.
All right, and so another couple of events that we got going on this weekend out on the peninsula. Terry Hank will be at Carmel Bar and Grill on Friday, April 26th, and we got a big show coming out. This is Medeski, Martin, and Wood. They're going to be coming out to the Sunset Center on April 25th. You ever heard of these guys?
I have not.
Okay, so you're excused from that discussion. A couple other things we got coming up. Art in Bloom will be over at the Monterey Museum of Art. That's going on this Saturday. And the American Cetacean Society, am I saying that right?
I think so. Whales?
Yes, they will be meeting at Brian Austin at Hopkins Marine Station. This is going on April 25th. So those are a couple events that you can go ahead and check out. And now we come to the exciting portion of Go Live, and that is our discussion with the young Jeannie Evers here. So one of the things that we've both kind of been going back and forth a little tiny bit on Twitter is Hannibal.
Yes, NBC on Thursdays. It's about to have its 4th episode this week, which actually technically is the 5th episode because NBC pulled what was supposed to be the 4th episode last week because of the Boston bombings, and they thought it was just going to be too violent, bring up too many associations, so they canned the episode. Clips are available online now if you want to get into that.
If you wouldn't mind, give me kind of the whole premise of the show, and I know it's taken after the character Hannibal Lecter, the title character, but is it taken from the book Red Dragon? Is that
I think probably yes, because Red Dragon is kind of the prequel, if you will, of the like Silence of the Lambs Hannibal. And actually, it's kind of an interesting take because for a show called Hannibal, it actually focuses mostly on an FBI profiler called Will Graham, and he's played by Hugh Dancy. And this, I'm not sure how, I can't speak to the books, but this Will Graham he falls somewhere on the autism spectrum, kind of closer to Asperger's. But he has this ability to get into killers' minds and kind of replay the crime scenes to know how it happened, and more importantly, what the killer was thinking as it went through it. Lecter right now is he's a main character, but he's also kind of more of a side character in that he's brought in to sort of be Will's psychiatrist, which is kind of its own interesting dynamic.
And Will is the character. He's pretty angst-ridden, is kind of what I've been gathering from these opening episodes.
He has this gift, but he doesn't like using it. And he has this really cool way of, visually cool way of getting into the minds of the characters, where he has this kind of like pendulum, like copy machine light going on in his head that kind of takes him back in time and has him like replay the scenes from the beginning, how it happens, so he can get into it. And I think it was in the pilot he got interrupted in that process, and since then he's been really sort of off kilter and just not happy in his own mind about things that he's had to do.
And did you mention who plays Hannibal?
Hannibal is Mads Mikkelsen, who I have never seen before, and if our lovely friend Mac McDonald was here, he rattled off a list of things that he was in that I have forgotten. But he's very good. He plays it cool and collected, but still kind of creepy.
And you've taken exception with a couple of the peripheral characters there.
I have indeed, and Marcos, his wife, apparently can attest to this. There's a tabloid reporter who is there and is annoying, and I kind of, a little superfluous. Like the creators maybe thought, hey, we need to have somebody from the outside stirring this pot, so let's have a reporter. But she just is not interesting at all, and
making us all look bad. That's what I take away from it.
You need to have like a real reporter in there.
But overall, if you had to pass on like your overall impressions or I don't know, rating or whatever, I mean, what would you suggest to the viewers about the show?
I would check it out. You have to be prepared for some really gruesome stuff. It's very graphic, if not necessarily really violent, if you can make that distinction. Just a lot of graphic imagery, but the psychological games that are being played that are starting to emerge more, I think, are really fascinating.
And would it be too much of a spoiler alert to suggest that you not eat a big meal right before you watch it?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it depends on if you like liver or not.
Good one. All right, moving on forward. Jeannie has actually, if you go check out her blog at montereyherald.com/rabbitears, you just posted a review of Sunday night's episode of Game of Thrones. Is that correct?
I did indeed. I've been doing weekly reviews because Game of Thrones is my own little personal obsession. And
it's getting really strong reviews this season in particular. I think coming in there was a huge buzz about it, but like one of the reviews, I can't remember who, but someone was suggesting that this is the best thing that HBO has ever produced. So
I mean, I haven't had HBO for that long, so I can't really attest to it, but it is pretty amazing what they've been able to do. I also read the books, and they've done a fantastic job paring that down and bringing the show to life. It is very broad in scope, lots of characters, lots of beautiful locales. But it's very, for as macro as it is, it's very micro. It focuses really well on the characters. And this season, for sure, I think, has really continued to develop that. One theme I'm noticing so far through the season is, I think this is kind of the season for the women. Queen, or soon-to-be Queen Marjorie, who is going after the young, terrible boy king Joffrey, really has him by the something by the neck or whatever. She's pulling his strings really, really well. She's manipulating him in a way that his mother couldn't, and she's really starting to position herself as the queen of the people, and she's ambitious, and she's coming into her own. Another woman character, of course, is Daenerys, who is the Khaleesi. She had her own little Dothraki army, and now she's got some dragons with her. And this most recent episode really kind of undermined a slave trader who underestimated her because she's a woman, because he thought that she didn't speak his language. But she really turned the tables on him, and he has this huge slave army that she just turned on him, and she's got her dragons, which I dismissed in the first episode of this season as not being realistic, which itself is a pretty ridiculous statement, but
Yeah.
the dragons are pretty awesome right now.
All right, on.
And yeah, it's shaping up to be another really exciting season.
So this one, just unquestionably, this is one everyone should be checking out.
Oh yes, unquestionably. Easy to catch up on too, only 10 episode seasons.
All right, so I want to thank you very much, Jeannie, for joining us for this week's
I
episode.
want to thank you, Marcos, for having me join you.
And we're going to do this again for sure. I'm going to drag you in here as
Absolutely.
much as we possibly can. All right, thank you very much for Jeannie Avers. I'm Marcos Cabrera. We'll check you out later.